Well, President Donald Trump says his administration will ask the U.S. Supreme Court for an immediate hearing after an appeals court ruled against his tariffs. In the decision last week, the court said that the president went too far when he declared national emergencies to justify tariffs on more than 90 countries. The ruling largely upheld a May decision by a federal trade court in New York. However, the judges are allowing the tariffs to remain in place while the case moves through the appeals process. President Trump talked about it in the Oval Office today.
Tariffs are vital to our country. And just so you know, other countries use them on us, but I just use them a lot better. We're in a much better position. We have trillions of dollars coming into our country. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a very poor nation, and we would be taken advantage of by every other nation in the world, friend and foe.
For more on this tariffs issue, let's bring in Tim Phillips, the Director of Government Affairs and Global Strategies at Nestpoint. Last week, on Truth Social, the president wrote, "If this allows to stand, that the decision will literally destroy the United States of America." What would happen if this decision does stand?
Well, if the decision stands, if the Supreme Court backs up President Trump on tariffs, then we'll have a sense of continuity, and we will not have the dramatic chaos that will happen if the court rules against him. The current decision at the lower level is stayed until October 14. So the Supreme Court is going to have to move quickly here. And I have to say, this will be the most momentous decision on the economy for the Supreme Court since the Obamacare decision of 2009, when the Chief Justice Roberts-led court ruled that Obamacare was constitutional and that it could stand. If they overrule President Trump on these tariffs, then you've got hundreds upon hundreds of billions of dollars of commerce that at that point could have to be refunded by the American government. We have uncertainty at that moment on tariffs and taxes. This is an enormously important decision by the Supreme Court.
Now, a stay is in place until October 14th. Now, what does this mean for the global supply chain? I mean, do companies out there, do they just have to take a wait-and-see approach?
This is incredibly difficult for them. The good news is that they normally are moving a quarter or so, a quarter calendar of the year ahead anyway. So this would not have a near-term effect, example, in the next weeks or months, but it could begin hitting the Christmas season, which is the biggest retail season, obviously, of the year.
Right.
It could be devastating for that Christmas season, which it could impact and beyond. So Chief Justice Roberts, the other 8 members of this court, it'll be the biggest decision in decades that they make, whether or not they allow the Trump tariffs to stay in place or whether they rule them unconstitutional. And court watchers genuinely do not know where the court, the individual members are going to land. There are 6 conservatives on the court, but this decision does seem to be scrambling some of the individual justices.
Now, Tim, do you think that the administration currently has a backup plan right now, and if the Supreme Court upholds the appeals court decision?
I do. I think Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, and others that are crucial in the president's economic policy team do have a backup plan. However, these tariffs have been built over the course of many months. They're now in effect with a large chunk of the world. So being able to find a backstop, a new way to execute these that would not require a months-long slog through Congress, it would be very difficult. But I'm sure Treasury Secretary Bessent and Commerce Secretary Lutnick are working with the president on a backup plan. But boy, there would be short-term chaos. There's no question about that.
Most definitely. Well, Tim Phillips, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it.
You bet.